Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're doing well. So go ahead and drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. It's a perfectly great way to help out this channel. But if you're looking for an awesome way to help out the channel, go ahead and check out the link in the description for my merchandise, and go get yourself a cool t-shirt or a hoodie. So I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's just get into it, see what we got today. We are live.
There's an energy all around us. The free energy. Energy of the atmosphere. And it's been called many other things. Chi. The nature's energy. A lot of things. But many people refer to it as the Aether. And in the 1800s, many books were written on this mysterious fluid, as they called it. Now some people say they were referring to electricity, but many others will point to places like these stupas as they called them. And you look at these ornate rods that come off the top, and to be told that these were purely ornamental, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In modern times, we would say that might be a lightning rod or something to that effect, because that's pretty much the only thing comparable. But in a way, they are much like lightning rods, because lightning rods in the 1800s were used for the same purpose as these stupas, to collect the atmospheric energy. There's just so much to this whole thing. How do they work? Why do they work? Are we going to see churches are of the same effect as stupas? And there's many buildings around the world purely built to harness this energy from the atmosphere. And it's all been covered up.
So check out the previous 2 episodes if you haven't already for more on this.
First year with Electroculture, and my 2 plants have 20 spaghetti squashes, and they were massive. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And that's the thing, Electroculture, you're tapping into the ether, you're tapping into the earth energy. You know, people can research earth batteries, because that's kind of what Electroculture is also tapping into. The beautiful energy that's coming out of the earth, that's pulsing every single day. That's what you're tapping into. And that energy is helping to amplify the energy of your plants. It helps to restore the sap, it helps to bring more pollinators, and it helps to increase growth. Electroculture works indoors. Any of your little planter pots, you can just take a piece of wood, wrap it with copper, make a little antenna, and place it into the planter in your apartment. And if you want, you could take it a step further. You can attach a crystal to the top so that you get the color spectrum off the crystal, and then you can wrap that with copper so you create a piezoelectric effect which will amplify the energy of your plants. And for example, aloe vera, which a lot of people grow indoors, goes absolutely wild with copper, Electroculture, and lapis.
All right, well, let's get into it.
Well, there's energy in the air, and that energy can be conducted by a coil into the soil and affect the microorganisms positively, because it establishes an electrical magnetic circuit in the soil, and nature knows how to balance that out. All you have to do is make the antenna. Nature will do the rest. Because there's electricity, there's moisture, there's energy in the air, more energy than we can possibly imagine. Tesla proved that back in 28 when he built and drove a Pierce Arrow car with his nephew. I use galvanized wire. You can go to a hardware place, Home Depot, and ask for wooden dowels. They come in 3-foot lengths, nicely shaped, round. So you can either cut them off or use the entire one. Wrap the coil at the bottom and then spiral it up. What I do is the stick is extended this way, and my wire is I go like that. People who are interested, they can see the growth. I made these ones here, and they've been in the ground now maybe 3 or 4 days. And I look, I say, wow, there's an explosion of greenery here with these. Absolutely amazing. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Take something just as simple as this. Wrapping some copper around a stick, and it just starts sticking into your plants. I'm gonna start one right here. It's just as simple as that. And we'll keep you posted with some updates. You can do it in anything, big or small. A concept the past knew all too well, getting great yields like that. It's great to see the old world concept catching on anew, though. People are having much success with it today. And if you need any literature, just check out my Telegram. You can get PDFs of Electroculture, available for download for free, filled with great diagrams and experiments you can try yourself. And don't forget, with Electroculture, another great art, take those shoes off when you're in the garden this summer and practice the art of grounding. Something, especially if you're suffering from inflammation, helps dramatically. Become one with that Electroculture garden this summer, while rediscovering some amazing health benefits known to us in the past. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
So many secrets of the past they've stolen from us.
Electroculture dates back to 1835. The U.S. government was performing electroculture in 1910. There's all the documents on it. They were testing it out to try to see what would happen. Victor Schauberger, during about World War II, presented this with the benefits of copper. Using copper gardening tools, copper shovels, copper, everything copper. And what happened was that was all shot down. And the reason being was because the politicians who it was proposed to were getting a kickback from the fertilizer companies. So they shot it down, and they put out a broadcast on the radio and newspaper that if you use copper in your soil, you'll yield too much food and you'll not make enough money. So guess what? Everybody stuck to iron. And when you think of iron and steel and all that stuff that we're using, think of rust. Think of all that rust going into your soil and clumping it up. And then people go, my soil's all messed up, because you're using a tool which is allowing the rust to go in there. And when those blades are hidden, it's creating heat, which makes you have to do what? Use more water. And then now you start to have all this water sitting on top, and it's not going deep into the earth. So then you start to get like mold, and all these issues. And then what do? Pour chemicals on it.
Interesting stuff.
What is the secret to growing giant plants? Do you ever remember seeing pictures of giant cabbages or giant pumpkins? What may have been the secret to growing these vegetables is a lost farming technology known as electroculture. The way that electricity affects plants was first observed in 1746 by a Scottish doctor named Dr. Mainbray. He electrified 2 trees and observed them putting forth new branches in October, something which had never happened before. In 1902, physicist Professor Lemstrom visited Alaska and observed plants growing faster under the aurora borealis. Due to the worldwide shortage of fertilizer, countries like China are investigating the use of electroculture and finding amazing results. They are achieving a 25 to 50% increase in yield with a 75% reduction in fertilizers and pesticides. Let's help spread the word about electroculture farming.
Definitely something to this, it seems like.
So I started doing a little bit of digging on electroculture from 1835. Check this out. These are news clip articles from Australia and the New South Wales from the Royal Agricultural Society. Look at all these clips about everybody knowing about electroculture in 1835. Look at great seasons, utilizing electroculture. Lettuce practically grown without water. Interesting. Indian rice growers experimenting with electroculture. Revolutionary experiment to increase the yields. So when we look into the past, we can see everybody knew about electroculture. Maybe even these gigantic trees came about from electroculture. Something we should look into. It's a topic that if you're gardening or growing your own food, you should be looking into it. You can check out more information on this topic at cultivateelevate.com/electroculture.
Fascinating.
A lot of people are asking me, how do you explain all the energy from the atmospheric antennas related to electroculture? Here is a great example. This is copper with a battery and some magnets. And what you see here is the spin that's always occurring the entire time. And when you're placing these atmospheric antennas into the soil that are with copper, that's what you're creating. The exact same thing. You're creating a spin, a vortex, right? You're changing the magnetism of that area so that you can enhance your yields and grow larger food and also start to yield more food over time. The magic is Victor Schauberger determined all this back in the 1940s. So if we go back in time and look at Victor Schauberger's work, he showed that when you use copper into the soil, copper-rich soils retain their moisture very well, and he began to experiment with them because he yielded 17 to 35% increases in his harvest. That's the magic of copper. Now, the only reason we were never told about copper was because of the fact that back in the day, representatives from the local agriculture society started to warn farmers against the use of copper as it could cause the overproduction, which would lower their prices. Meaning that if they use copper plows and all of the copper and electroculture that we are using today, they would have too much food and not make enough money. Think about that logic.
Sounds like something our politicians would tell us today. Some stupid shit like that.
If you use copper tools inside your soil, you'll yield too much food and not make enough money. And so,
Matt, repeat that, please. Say that again, please. This is after World War II. We're rebuilding a whole continent. We're rebuilding everything. And what are they saying?
So if you use copper tools in your soil, you will yield too much food and not make enough money. Right? And this was told to all the farmers. So at the time when the farmers were dependent on that money supply, right, for their food, they decided, well, then I'm not going to do that because I can't risk that, right? We can't risk losing a season and not having food. We're not going to mess with any of that. So instantaneously, Victor Schauberger's work on all of this related to copper and all of the benefits and those things was all lost.
You know, it sounds awful lot like you'll own nothing and be happy.
So many people were asking, what are the results from electroculture from last year? Let me show you. That's a 46-pound watermelon. Look at that cauliflower. Look at those vegetables. The power of electroculture, taking a piece of wood, wrapping it with copper, placing it into your garden, and amplifying the energy. Remember all the lightning rods and weather vanes that used to be all over the buildings? They took all those down because it diminishes the energy. But we're bringing it back with electroculture. And then my buddy just sent me some pictures of his avocados. Look at those things. Absolutely massive compared to that little battery. But that's the coolest part about electroculture. Everything is bigger, more abundant. When it comes to food shortages, why aren't we using it? It's interesting because the US government did studies with this in the 1920s, but I guess decided not to tell anybody. But I guess if we go around telling everybody they can have abundance and big beats and all types of big amounts of food, I guess that's not good for profits, but people should look into electroculture and tapping into the atmospheric energy that is all around us.
Yeah, those avocados look like squashes. Food shortage my ass.
All right, I have to give a shout out to my friend Matt at Cultivate Elevate because he turned me on to this. And if I extended this pea plant up on a proper trellis, because I didn't build it big enough, it would probably be 7 feet tall, maybe 8. I just took a bunch off of this morning to make for the kids for dinner, a bunch of peas. But here's what I did. Matt turned me on to electroculture, and I used sticks like this, which I'd showed him before. But I'll be honest, what's worked better is creating your own spirals of copper, like this, and then putting them right in the ground. And what it does is it creates an energy vortex. Look up electroculture. It creates an energy vortex which provides nutrients, energy to the roots. It helps keep the soil hydrated, and you get tons of yield from putting copper into your beds. Look up electroculture. And look at this. I showed you this before, but look at these tomatoes. I've never been able to grow San Marzano tomatoes this healthy because they're very temperamental, and I end up having disease or short yield. These have tons of flowers already growing, and they're going to bring a ton of fruit. And it's all because I'm putting in copper spirals into the beds that are giving me a good yield, and they're growing healthy. Same thing over here. Look at my carrots. Insane. Go buy a copper reel of wire, make your spirals, throw them in the ground. I got one over here somewhere. It's getting buried. There it is. And watch what happens.
You know, I spent last night Googling the results of this. Some wild.
I found an old 1950s newspaper talking about how somebody would mix radium with terracotta clay. They would put those two together and they would create these radium terracotta bricks. And they would make plants go absolutely wild. And this was shown in the San Francisco World Fair. The San Francisco World Fair reset, where they showed technology to people that already existed and put it out there and then got rid of it completely. And this is what you see with every World Fair. 1893, St. Louis, New York City, all the different World Fairs. You see all these different places that they have this old world tech and all of a sudden it's all gone. They reset it and then they get rid of it all. And then they start from scratch and they start teaching the people new things. Like, you need to use this type of device to grow your food. You shouldn't be connected to this radium and terracotta clay. You need to use this, something that's going to run out, keeping you dependent on this system. With radium, you don't have to be dependent anymore. There's no more dependence on energy because it's unlimited. And what's the most common thing that my pages get censored for? Talking about unlimited resources. Unlimited water, unlimited energy, unlimited food, unlimited electricity, unlimited all these beautiful things.
Yeah, free energy stuff usually gets shut down.
So it's wild to say that electroculture has become so big in the last year from all the videos and everything sharing and everything going wild that Google is starting to debunk electroculture and say that it's not true, it does not work. You know, it's pseudoscience and woo-woo and quackery and all those other fun Rockefeller educational terms. But let's look at this experiment. So this is without electroculture, no antennas. Wow, that's quite a difference. This is with the antennas. And all it is a piece of wood wrapped in copper, creating an atmospheric antenna. Look at this difference. Same amount of water, same amount of sunshine, same plants, same timeline. One is about 2 times the size of the other. So then the question that we have for Google is, if it's debunked and it's not true, then why is it working? Maybe because Google wants us to buy Monsanto's toxins instead of utilizing Mother Earth's energy.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Copper rings. This goes into Lakovsky coils. It talks about meridian lines. So placing a copper ring around the hands, all of these are different meridian lines. And what you're doing is you're enhancing that meridian line. So let's say this one is connected to the small intestine. This one is connected to the liver. Wrapping copper around that area can help enhance that meridian line and help heal that organ pathway. Let's say you have inflammation of the neck. A lot of people have inflammation in the neck. You get yourself a copper necklace, or you can put copper around the neck so that you can get rid of neck pain. Same thing with the elbows. You got problems with your elbows, or you got pain in your elbows, or anything that's related to elbow, tennis elbow, which is funny. You just put a little copper around there, fix that. Knee pain, if you have stomach issues and you're having problems with your stomach, number 1, you should do an enema. Number 2, you can get a little copper, wrap it around your waist, and it'll help your stomach start moving again. Because sometimes what's missing in the stomach is the ability for the energy or the circulation or the blood to flow. So copper can help that and help support the stomach.
Yeah, copper's amazing stuff. Let's check it out.
These billionaires are building bunkers. And it's interesting because Mark Zuckerberg built a bunker and he put copper pipes in his bunker. So think about that. Mark Zuckerberg likes the copper, that's for sure. If he's putting copper pipes in his bunker. So if he's putting copper pipes in his bunker, you should put copper pipes in your home. They're not doing these things for fun. They're not just like, copper looks kind of cool. I'll kind of take it. You know, it's got like a cool color to it. And, you know, I think it's kind of fancy. No, because it blocks radio frequencies. And it also helps keep the structure of their water. So if Mark Zuckerberg is putting copper pipes in his bunker, you should be putting copper pipes in your home. And if someone comes to pay you to take out your copper pipes, you know what you can tell them. You can tell them, there's the door. Tony Robbins has an amazing bunker. He also has a huge salt room, and he doesn't allow any technology into his house. His whole house is hardwired. Look at that. It's almost like these celebrities know what to do, almost like they know the threats that we face on the regular, and they have everything to counter it. Very, very interesting.
Yep. There are no coincidences.
You can use copper pyramids to heal your body. You can create a copper pyramid. You can put your seeds underneath the copper pyramid and it will help them germinate quicker and they will also be much healthier. You can also put food under a pyramid and it will preserve itself indefinitely. This is a fascinating one. Les Brown talked about this. He put food underneath a pyramid and above a pyramid, and he noticed that it would preserve itself indefinitely. So you could take like an egg, crack it open, put it in a pyramid, or place it above a pyramid, and it will preserve itself. And if you want to bring it back, you just put a little water on it. This was the work of Les Brown. He understood that we could use shapes to heal, preserve our body, preserve the energy, the aura, the essence of everything. You even saw copper vinyl records. Copper vinyl records before plastic. Statue of Liberty, copper. Buddhist monk temples, copper. You see copper all over the place. So why would we not be doing things with copper? It doesn't make any sense.
Same with our Parliament buildings here in Canada. They look green, but they're tarnished copper.
Your brain is copper and carbon. Dr. Sebi said that. Your brain is copper and carbon. So you need copper for your brain to function and for your whole body to function. And Morley Robbins was talking about how we only need 1 milligram of iron in our body per day. The rest is supposed to be coming from copper. So think about this imbalance that we're having. We have no copper over here, and then we have all this iron and all this plastic over here. This is gonna gunk us all up, just like those pipes. It's gonna block up those pipes, which what's it's gonna do to the body? It's gonna block up the pipes of the body, or the electrical pathways of the body, or the meridian lines that run up and down the entire body. So if you think about it, if you take the copper away, then now you're overloaded on iron. And iron doesn't conduct too well. But if we're conductive crystals, if you take out all the copper, you have no more conductivity. Then you start having people having inflammation, their lymphatic system's all messed up, they can't think, their stomach's all messed up. Start seeing all these things and going, kind of makes sense because nothing is flowing. There's no energy that's flowing.
Just try it out.
I learned this way too late in life. This container is beautiful, but this has nothing to do with the way it looks. So what's the big deal with copper vessels? You're gonna want to hear this. Everything water comes into contact with leaches back into the water. Water is a universal solvent. It's also why you should never drink out of plastic. Glass is good, ceramic is good, but copper is the holy grail. And no matter what anyone says, copper is incredibly good for you. It's a necessary nutrient. The brain depends upon it for the lipid cells connectivity.
Yeah.
Do you have gray hair or wrinkles? Well, if you do, you might just be copper deficient. Listen to this.
There's a whole series of diseases that are caused by copper deficiency. Gray hair is the first sign. When you start getting gray hair, regardless of your age, you got a copper deficiency. You get skin wrinkles because the elastic fibers in your skin are going. Those little crow's feet around your eyes and facial and body skin wrinkles. You look like you're a little prune drying up. Then, of course, there's the varicose veins. Varicose veins. That's caused by an elastic fiber breakdown. Then, of course, parts of your body begin to sag. Under your arms, your breasts, your bellies, your legs, all this stuff starts sagging. And you can go to a cosmetic surgeon or plastic surgeon if you want, but it's a lot cheaper and a lot more effective and a lot safer if you just take some copper.
Here are 3 different ways to reverse a copper deficiency. The first one is you can drink out of a copper cup. The copper will be transferred into the water and then you drink it and your body will get the copper. The second way to reverse a copper deficiency would be to eat foods that are rich in copper, like chia seeds and avocados. And the third way is you could wear copper. Your skin is porous, so the copper will soak into your skin and go straight into your bloodstream. You guys want some? Link in bio. Peace and love, everybody.
Yeah. And copper jewelry is very affordable. There's even copper sleeves you can get for muscle pain. It's all out there.
Copper on your ankles, yes. So this is what I would wear on my ankles, and this helps to get rid of inflammation and pain. But it's interesting because I've started to think of the body as meridian lines. So if I take this and I, for example, put this on my arm, there's all the meridian lines that run up and down my arm, and the copper is helping to enhance that. Same with your fingers. Your fingers are all meridian lines too. Same with your neck. People wear necklaces, which are helping the meridian lines of their neck. So then if you take copper and you place it around the ankles, It could actually be very beneficial for inflammation in the lower extremities, the lower body parts, because there's blood flowing up and down from the feet or the sole, which is funny, but the feet up into the brain. So you can take a little copper, wrap the ankles, and see how you feel. And I've even done copper wrapped around right here. I've done copper wrapped around my arms. I've tried all different variations. I've done a copper crown. You can do a copper crown if you're suffering from memory loss and you can't think straight and brain fatigue. You can do a nice little copper crown. Nice little simple things.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to try.
Yes, even vision loss. Remember that vision loss really just equals a copper deficiency. Copper helps to rebuild the eye. It's so effective that everybody who does it, they heal. You gotta fix the number 2 deficiency on the planet, which is a magnesium deficiency as well, in order to heal your eye fully. Number 1 deficiency on the planet is that copper deficiency. That's why we're told to salt every offering, Leviticus 2:13. The magnesium inside of that organic salt helps to magnetize your eyes and your body. And have enough goat milk for your entire home, Proverbs 27:27. Just miracle stories of people who started drinking this goat milk, adding salt to the milk, and their vision returns. The blurry vision goes away. Right now, remember, we can't just pay attention to 1 or 2 verses. It also says that this kind of eye issue or vision loss also only will leave by prayer and fasting. We really need to be fasting 12 to 24 hours a day on a regular basis to put the body back into a state of autophagy, which equals cellular regeneration, which equals your eyes blurry vision or vision issue will go away. So while we're fasting, we're consuming that magnesium, we're consuming that copper to solve the top 2 deficiencies in the world. But remember, most people make the mistakes of fasting and not getting the minerals and the electrolytes, the copper, the magnesium back into the body. But now that you're doing this, you won't have the same issues that the other people had. You won't suffer like them because you have the information that they did not have. And information is power. Remember that the greatest wealth that we can have is health. What does $1 million mean if we don't have our own ability to see the creation that He's created for us? And vision is probably the greatest gift known to man, next to thought. So you do the Master's Cleanse, you combine the salt, the copper, the Master's Cleanse 3 to 10 times a day, which is organic salt, cayenne, key lime, and coconut oil or olive oil. The olive oil and the coconut oil, also, that's the stuff that's in there, helps to regrow your eyes as well. So don't underestimate the fact that herbs will be for the healing of the nations, Revelation 22:2, and the disease will be no more, Revelation 22:3, the correct translation. So this is why we made you guys the Bible Health Book. But what I just told you was everything that you need to do next to using a low-carb, organic, pasture-raised, grass-fed style diet, because that low-carb style diet is going to give you more animal-based copper and proper amounts of magnesium, manganese, creatine that your body needs that you can't get from non-animal products. So remember, animal products heal your eyes. That's why King Solomon, the wisest man in the world, told us to have enough goat milk for our entire home, Proverbs 27:27. And it's a covenant of salt that will last forever, Numbers 18:19. Anyways, y'all, that's why we made you the book. Have a good one.
Yep. Some wonderful information from this guy here. Even if you're not a believer, that's information you can take to the bank, 100%. I intermittently fast. I also only eat meat, and I drink from a copper cup whenever I can. It's all I can do with my aging, and it seems to be kind of holding good.
Copper blocks radio frequencies. And what are they trying to put out all over the place? Cell phone towers, so that they can come into your home. So when you get into copper, it actually blocks radio frequencies and works to help protect the body. So if you wear copper too, it helps to protect the body too. But don't want to tell anybody that. Got to sell them some DuPont plastic instead. People who are going against it are the people to keep you sick and poisoned and just keep you in a perpetual loop. That's all it comes down to. Honestly, like everything I've realized is people just want to keep people at a low frequency, not teach them about copper, not teach them about any of that stuff. It just keeps them in this perpetual loop of sickness. And I've had people who've reached out, they have taken copper and wrapped, for example, their arm, and all of their inflammation in their arm has gone away. It's cost like $2. They didn't have to take any weird inflammation pills that came with like 10,000 side effects, including death. None of that. All they had to do was get a little copper and then just wrap that area that they were feeling the inflammation or their body sending out a signal that's saying there's a lot of inflammation and pain and too much electricity in this area, and the copper helps ground that and balance it out.
Yeah.
canes, the earth is electromagnetic. The canes they used were made out of wood and metal because it conducts electricity and allows them to be grounded to the earth. Modern day canes have rubber bottoms, just like our shoes have rubber bottoms. This was done on purpose to keep us from being grounded from the earth. Grounding reduces inflammation and charges the electromagnetic field of the body. The ancients understood that the body is an electrical machine. This is why these 2,000-year-old shoes have metal plates on the bottom. Every single cell, every single organ has its own electromagnetic field. Our spirit is our spiraling energy field. Putting on the armor of God in the Bible means to have a strong electromagnetic field. If you haven't already, read my book, The Book of Wisdom. It will tell you everything.
Well, there you go, guys. There's a lot of excellent information today. I know it was a lot. It's a little bit longer than we're used to, but there was even more I wanted to put in there, but we'll get to it. So, like always, I want to know what you guys are thinking, and maybe some of you are already using copper, and let's hear some of the success stories that you guys have had. But that's going to do it for me today. I guess I'll see you in the next one, and until then, 80 Canadian, signing off.